Good afternoon, everyone. This is Paul Whittle with American Allstar Realty, and we're doing a take two on this webinar to talk about the earnest money requirements for HUD homes. It looks like we had our volume turned off on that first one, so you probably saw my lips moving a lot and not a lot coming out. So we'll try this again. I wanted to go through a couple of questions that I receive quite frequently when buyers are purchasing HUD homes, and specifically the earnest money requirements that are involved in purchasing HUD homes. So we want to talk first about what those requirements are, how to complete the necessary funds to get HUD to sign the contract once a bid has been accepted, and finally we want to talk about where to deliver the original earnest money deposit to make sure that the contract package gets processed and the contract gets signed and you move forward through the process. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick screen share so I can walk you through the outline of what those requirements are and hopefully address any questions that you might have about that process. So bear with me just 1 second while we get over to our screen here. All right. All right, so the earnest money deposit and the requirement, it must be in the form of cashier's check or money order, and it needs to be with no termination date or cancellation provision. One of the biggest requirements that I see a lot of mistakes on, and I want to stress the importance of this several times throughout this presentation, the earnest money needs to be made payable to the escrow company that the buyer is using, so the buyer selected escrow company, or the buyer's name. And both of those need to be in there, both the escrow company's name, the word "or," and the buyer's name. So in this example, it's John Smith who selected ABC Escrow Company. The check must be made payable to ABC Escrow Company or John Smith. That entire language needs to be there. We'll show you an example of this on the next slide. The earnest money amounts, the deposits required, are always based on the sale price or the property type. So for properties with a sale price of $50,000 or less, the earnest money is going to be $500, and it's just a flat fee. It's not negotiable. That's what it always is. If the property is $50,001 or more, the earnest money deposit is going to be $1,000. For vacant lots, earnest money is 50% of the list price, and for good neighbor next door, that's the G&ND properties, 1% of the list price, but it always falls within a range. It's not going to be less than $500 and not to exceed $2,000. And again, those amounts are not negotiable. So those are what they're always going to be for that purchase price or property type. Now, here's an example of what the earnest money check should look like. This is a cashier's check, preferred method of delivering earnest money. Of course, money order is also acceptable. But I want to point out a couple of real important points or important things, that requirements on this cashier's check. If you look at the page of the order of in that big blue arrow, it says ABC Escrow or John Doe. You can see that they have listed both the escrow company's name, the buyer's name, and the word "or." That entire amount is there. They've made it correct for the purchase price of for the earnest money amount of $1,000. That signifies that the purchase price is $50,001 or higher. And at the bottom in the memo line, they have the FHA case number and the street address. And this is super helpful when it's being sent, so they can reference what property this check is for. Because all the earnest money deposits are the same, you could see how it might be possible that a check gets put in the wrong spot. So just having that extra assurance in there by having the case number and the street address is very helpful. Now, once the earnest money deposit is completed, you're going to want to make a copy of the check. And a copy of the check is submitted to BLB along with the buyer signed contract. That entire package gets sent to BLB, and BLB gets HUD signatures and sends it back to all parties. Now, the original earnest money deposit, the original cashier's check, is delivered to the listing agent within 2 business days of bid acceptance. Once you get a bid accepted on a HUD property, you're going to receive an email from the local listing broker, and it'll have a copy of all these instructions in here. But a couple of key pieces that you really need to pay attention to that are time sensitive. You want to get a copy of the earnest money check to deliver to BLB Resources along with the HUD contract package. You want the original earnest money deposit dropped off at the local listing broker's office. When you drop it off, you're going to receive a receipt. They're going to say they have it. They're in possession of the earnest money. They're going to deliver it to the escrow company once we receive the signed contract from HUD. So it's really important that the selling agent and the buyer understand that these are time-sensitive issues. So you really want to make sure that you're acting promptly. Get the original earnest money, fill it out correctly, make a copy of it, turn that into BLB, get the original earnest money deposit into the local listing broker within that 2 business days of bid acceptance. Again, original earnest money goes to the listing broker, copy of the earnest money goes to BLB Resources. So I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope I've been able to answer the questions that you have about earnest money deposits and what those requirements are for purchasing HUD homes. Again, my name is Paul Whittle. I'm always available here to answer any questions that you might have about purchasing HUD homes or any other properties in the Southeast Valley of Phoenix. Our number here at American Allstar Realty is 480-751-5300, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for tuning in today. Have a great day.